In the headlines, abductors threatened to marry one of the kidnapped students of College of Health Science and Technologies Afe in Zamfara if ransom is not paid. Lawmakers in the lower chamber call for resignation of the National Security Advisor over failure of the nation's security architecture. National leader of APC, Bola Tinubu, says Nigeria needs courageous leader to proffer solutions to the challenges facing the country. Philippine military continues search and rescue efforts as death toll increases after Tropical Storm Maggie made landfall. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Zainab Bala. Hello and a warm welcome. Abductors have contacted one of the mothers of the kidnapped students of College of Health Science and Technologies Afe in Zamfara and threatened to marry her if ransom is not paid. Confirming the incident, the provost of the college, Yusuf Idris, said the incident happened outside the school premises on Wednesday. 5 students had been abducted, but one of them is reported to have escaped from the abductors.
According to the provost, 5 female students who stay off campus were abducted by suspected terrorists who invaded their residence in Safi town, adding that one of the students later escaped and is currently in hospital receiving medical attention. The provost said that 4 of the college students are in the hands of the suspected terrorists. He debunked reports that the college was attacked by the suspected terrorists, emphasizing that the abduction of the affected students occurred outside the college premises.
The school did not receive any attack, no attempt. Even this one is a personally rented house in the town. God so kind that we made some release of a paper demarcating certain areas, highlighting certain areas that students should not stay, should not live. Even if they live there, they should vacate. And these are outskirts of the town in which this house is among.
The student who escaped the abduction and others who reside in the area where the abduction took place told Trust TV their accounts of the incident.
Last night around 2 o'clock in the night, we were sleeping, then we had some people hitting our door. Then after we had them hitting our door, they now opened the door and entered because the house have 2 doors. They entered the first gate and now started hitting the door that will lead them inside the house. When they enter inside the house, they now started hitting our rooms and asked us to come and open the door for them.
The police in Zamfara State also confirmed the Wednesday abduction. Police Public Relations Officer Muhammad Shehu said the police is on the trail of the abductors and pledged to rescue the victims unhurt. Safe local government area of Zamfara State has been witnessing a series of attacks by suspected terrorists in recent times. This led to the closure of National Youth Service Corps Orientation Camp in Safi town. This abduction of the 4 female students of the College of Science and Technology, Safi, is coming in less than 2 weeks when the son of the State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs was killed by the terrorists in the headquarters of Safi Local Council.
President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday presided over the Council of the State meeting at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The meeting is attended physically by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Secretary to the Government of the Federation Boss Mustapha, National Security Advisor Babagana Monguno, Chief of Staff to the President Professor Ibrahim Gambari, among others. Before the commencement of the meeting, a minute silence was observed in honor of the former head of interim government, Ernest Shonekan, who died on January 11, 2022. This is the 4th time the President will chair the meeting earlier held on October 21, 2015. September 7, 2016 and August 2020. The federal government says, contrary to impressions, it is engaging with abductors of victims of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack. Minister of Information Lai Mohammed, however, says the plans of government to address the situation were not to be a subject of a press conference. The minister spoke on Wednesday at State House, Abuja, after the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council.
On the 28th of March on a Kaduna-bound train in Katari, Kaduna State continues to draw public attention. But then it was followed up by attacks in Plateau and Benue states in the last 2 days. It has drawn a lot of flack for government, and especially the president, who is being asked to resign. Ministers of Information Lai Mohammed and Defense Bashir Magashi are trying to reassure the public that the security agencies are working to ensure that these attacks do not happen again.
Honestly, I think the security chiefs are working hard to unveil those who are involved, and we'll tell you very soon the people that are carrying out these activities. All Jos and Kaduna will come to inform the public what is really going on and our efforts to ensure that all these activities are stopped.
Why has there been a surge in terrorist attacks in the last month?
There is a kind of unholy handshake between bandits and Boko Haram insurgents. And preliminary reports of what transpired at the Kaduna train attack shows that there's been a kind of collaboration between the bandits and the dislodged Boko Haram fighters from the northeast.
And of course, Nigerians would like to know what is being done to rescue victims of the train attack who are still in captivity.
What I can assure you is that the respective arms of government are actually engaged as we speak in getting those victims released.
Government is still relying on citizens to exercise patience and keep faith in it. But Nigerians have fast run out of patience, and keeping faith may be an even harder thing to do. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
As the killings in the country continue unabated, federal lawmakers in the lower chamber say Nigeria is gradually becoming a failed state. They are calling for the resignation of the National Security Advisor due to the failure of the nation's security architecture. The call is coming on the heels of a double attack in Plateau and Benue State where many were killed, scores injured, and many homes destroyed within 2 days. The report.
Insecurity and terrorism have been major challenges confronting the Nigerian government in the last few years as the country has witnessed a series of attacks from bandits, terrorists, and unknown gunmen. However, the recent killings in a village in Wase, Plateau, and that of Goma local government and Tiotu community in Taka in Benue have elicited grave reactions from federal lawmakers in the Green Chamber following motions brought by Honorable Yusuf Gagdi from Plateau and Bem Nzondu from Benue State.
Nigerians are being killed on a daily basis, Mr. Speaker. The four angles of Nigeria nowhere is safe. Mr. Speaker, what is beating my imagination more? Aside of the killing, is who is responsible. Why must we be chased out of our lands? Benue people are known to farm. As we speak, my people cannot go to farm. Hunger crisis is on the way. What again do we need to do? My governor has always been crying. The legislators from Benue have always been crying. Our senators are crying. Everybody in Benue is crying. Even when we raise the motion, it's sufficient for the street to act. But the other one, among the people that were arrested at the local committee who are their own informants and collaborators, one was communicating with them for the detention camp, communicating to the committee, and assuring people that were going to go out. And at the end of the day, he got out. When he got out, his wife was arrested with drugs.
The federal lawmakers say attacks like these ones are synonymous with those that take place in a failed state and called for the resignation of the National Security Advisor for his failure to nip the killings in the bud. They also called out members of the various House Security Ad Hoc Committees for failing to submit reports that are consistent with the prevailing security situations in the country to the House.
So where you might tell somebody who cannot be able to see outside the box, or who believes in one particular tradition, and solution is very simple. If the president means well to this country, and if we are really trying to look for a solution, we have to immediately sack the national security advisor. We should put all our hands on deck to ensure that Nigeria moves forward and that security is installed once again.
They called on the federal government to act decisively to save the country, as Nigerians are daily living in fear of possible attacks.
The 81 Division Nigerian Army military police personnel have arrested over 12 suspected imposters fully dressed in military camouflage uniforms in Lagos and Ogun states. The General Officer commanding 81 Division Nigerian Army, Major General Umar Thama Musa, while parading the imposters at a press briefing, dispelled the narrative that all illicit acts committed by persons dressed in military uniforms are always military personnel. He noted that persons display military items such as belts and stickers in vehicles and driving commercial vehicle in military uniform as well as civil vehicle painted in army color are not usually personnel of the Nigerian Army. Musa, during the parade of the suspected imposters, explained that preliminary investigation revealed that some of the suspects specialized in mounting roadblock along Ajah Road to extort money from motorists, as well as indulge in other illegal duties while dressed in Nigerian Army camouflage uniform. He was represented by the Acting Deputy Director, 81 Division Army Public Relations, Major Olani Osoba.
150 from last year to now. The ones you see, the 12 now, are the ones we are finished investigating. Because before we forward to Nigerian police, we try to investigate them to get the sources of the uniforms and who made the ID card for them, so that we'll be able to nip the issue at the board. Because if we get the sellers or the provider of the uniform, sometimes it goes a long way in preventing people to wear them. So those ones that we have handed over, they are with the Nigerian police, and we are waiting for the outcome of their prosecution. The arrest was made about 4 months ago, from December to now, because 4 were arrested at a particular place during the conference. I stated it. 2 were arrested, then 1 an individual ones, and that's how we arrested them.
Yes, sir. Because of where I'm serving, Ekpe Command is far from my house. I use it to enter my house because of transport where behind.
Not a risk. I'm using this word for everybody that claim what they are not doing. They're going to go and enter their mind to change it. They arrested me in December 5, which have been seen many things in that place, which are not pray. All those people that impersonate, they should go and change it. There's nothing like to be living in fake life. Anybody that lives in fake life should go and change. I see many things. So I know that God that wanted to arrest me, that it's not maybe they arrested me, it's just the officer that's going. Because of I just do like this for the officer. That's why the officer advised back. It's not, I'm an officer in Ojo.
The national leader of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Tinubu, says Nigeria needs a courageous leader to urgently meet the desire of citizens for drastic solutions to the challenges facing the country. Tinubu also described himself as the most qualified for the position of president in 2023, adding that his aspiration is for a nation that will not be an index of poverty. The presidential aspirant said this at a one-day parley held for serving speakers and former speakers and deputy held in Lagos with the theme, The Legislature, Changing Times and Nigeria's Democratic Journey. Tinubu further described himself as brilliant, courageous and sound enough to know the solutions to Nigeria's problems.
I am the first governor ever to bring independent power project, soft power as a priority. And I will do it again. You give me the opportunity to become the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I agree. I brought IPP 300 megawatts. If they have followed my recommendations, then Nigeria would not be so epileptic in the way we are. You cannot galvanize industry and develop the ability to do and change the 21st century to 22 in your lifetime unless you pay attention attention to electricity. How many cobblers can you create to do the shoes? Without electricity. Unfortunately, we have great animals. We have our cows, source of protein and everything. But we eat them all, including mama. That will not bring revenue. It just brings constipation. And best mission. That's what I want to say to you this morning or this afternoon.
75,000 families displaced by Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast region have successfully resettled in Gombe State. Governor of the state, Inuwa Yahaya, made this known when he received his counterpart and chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum, Kaide Fahimi, at Government House, Gombe last Wednesday. Governor Inuwa said the effect of insurgency in the northeast region has left people in the area damaged with devastating livelihood crisis. Governor Kaide Fahimi said his visit to Gombe was to interact with Governor Inuwa Yahaya and leaders of the All Progressive Congress APC in the state on pressing national issues.
Of displaced persons that came to settle here, we made this place to be home for them. As at the last count, about 75,000 families have resettled in Gombe. I don't think even if an opportunity comes, they will still think of going back because they've resumed their normal lives, they've restored, and they are moving forward. And that is the essence of, the federation, to see that we are our brothers' keepers, and we go with one another, accommodate one another, and give chance for us to realize our potential to the fullest. That is what we are doing here in Gombe, and we are very proud of doing.
These are very critical times for our country. Our president is doing his best to calm things down. The economy is not experiencing the best of times. Our security situation continues to be challenging, and we are in a period of transition. So we definitely need to find a way not only to continue to do what Mr. President is doing, but to also look for the best way to build on the gains of this administration over the last almost.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up, how Kano State government struggled to enforce ban on street begging. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Trust TV News Update and top stories. Abductors threaten to marry one of the kidnapped students of College of Health Science and Technology, AFI, in Zamfara if ransom is not paid. Lawmakers in the lower chamber call for resignation of the National Security Advisor over failure of the nation's security architecture. Edo State government says it will build more facilities for Lassa fever testing as part of efforts to contain the epidemic in the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Obehi Okoria, disclosed this while briefing journalists after the weekly Edo State Executive Council meeting chaired by Governor Godwin Obaseki at the Government House in Benin City. Okoria said the government is working with the National Center for Disease Control to create additional testing facilities in Edo North, specifically at the Edo State University, Uziarue. He said within the next couple of weeks, 2 more facilities will be added to the already existing one at the Irua Specialist Teaching Hospital. Despite the recent ban on street begging by the Kano State government, authorities are still finding it tough to effect total compliance. In this feature, Trust TV's Idris Jabil reports that thousands of beggars are still roaming the streets of Kano metropolis. His report.
Across many parts of Kano metropolis are women, children, elderly, and the physically challenged. Their aim is to either beg for food or money to buy some. Begging, otherwise known as bara or maula, is a common practice to appeal for help from people and households around neighborhoods, on the streets, popular junctions and motor parks.
Some of these street beggars have no options. Since they do not have even what to eat, they don't have choice rather than to beg on the street so that at least they can get food to eat. But others, there is nothing more than greed. It's just greediness that is pushing them.
In Kano, like many other parts of the country, the initial focus is not to raise money, but to gain enough food or resources needed for immediate sustenance. Today, street begging has become a professional business, and stopping it is increasingly becoming difficult.
On several occasions, I have arrested pregnant women. I have arrested some with even HIV/AIDS. Therefore, with this kind of situation, government had to make a stand. We had to make a policy by which all this almajiri on the street will be evacuated.
Although Kano State government has recently banned street begging, but the number of street beggars, most of whom are women and children, seems to be increasing despite measures said to have been put in place.
Kano State government has made adequate arrangement for long concerning these street beggars, especially the physically challenged. We have made arrangement, those of them who have a certificate and were fortunate enough to go to school, they should take their certificate to their local government chairman and job will be provided for them. Kano State government had made this announcement repeatedly and it still stands, and we are working on it, and anybody who provides such document will be provided with a job.
Unless government policies are properly implemented, poverty is reduced to the barest minimum, as well as high rate of rural to urban migration is controlled, street begging may be far from over. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Youth in the country, especially women, have been called upon to engage in skills acquisition in order to be self-reliant rather than being dependent on government jobs. The call is made by fashion designer Ms. Winifred Iyaji during a discussion with Trust TV News in Abuja.
Ms. Winifred Iyaji further said it is paramount importance for women to contribute their own quota to the upliftment of their family, especially their ward, adding that venturing into business will go a long way for them to be more proactive in all their endeavors and ease living.
The experience has been good, but it hasn't been easy. It has its ups, it has its downs. But one thing I've learned for sure is once you are determined, there is nothing you can't do. I started out very broke, like I was on 0 naira when I started fashion.
Winifred Iyaji further urged parents to monitor the movement of their children to make their life more better and future ambassadors of the country. The entrepreneur, who explained that it may not be easy when starting up any entrepreneurship-oriented venture, so it requires resilience and determination.
One of the things that kept me going, or that even made me start, was my elder brother. He kept encouraging me because shortly before I started fashion, I was working in a hospital. So I left the job and I drained all my savings. All I had left was my fashion skill.
She then called on government to carry women along in their empowerment programs, which will definitely assist them. As experts says, when a woman is empowered, the whole community is empowered. In Abuja, Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News.
And on the foreign scene, the Philippine military pledged on Thursday to keep up search and rescue efforts after Tropical Storm Maggie ripped through central areas this week, burying many under landslide and killing at least 123 people. The city government said in a report 86 of the casualties are in Bebe, a mountainous area prone to landslide in Leyte province, where 236 people were also injured. 3 others drowned in the different provinces, while 6 people are still missing. Maggie is the first cyclone this year to hit the Philippines, an archipelago of the more than 7,000 islands that sees an average of 20 tropical storms a year. Maggie, which made landfall on Sunday with sustained winds of up to 65 kilometers per hour and gusts up to 80 kilometers per mile per hour, has since dissipated. The Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development has appointed former international athlete and now chairman of the Edo State Sports Commission, Yusuf Ali, as the coordinator of the team Nigeria to coordinate the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, England. Ali, who was the captain of the team Nigeria to 2 consecutive Olympic Games in 1984 and 1988, is expected to bring his experience as a former athlete and his expertise as an administrator to bear on Nigeria's participation at the Games. With sports, we wrap up Trust TV News updates. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. Thanks for your time and company.